Hey guys, I wanted to go ahead and give an update because I've been on the deficit for a while. Just a reminder, these videos about my health journey, they are exploratory in nature. I may not have every single thing right. I'm just trying to explore and understand what I'm going through at the moment. So, as always, these are a part of my research, and you're totally welcome for the ride. So, what I wanted to do was talk about a few different things. As you guys know, back in December, I decided to just dive into weight loss come January, come especially after Christmas. I've been off of sugar since probably the 28th or so of December, and I have been in the deficit from the 1st of January. It's now, I think, almost mid-January. And we're in the full swing of weight loss. It's very, very strong. So what I want to say, first of all, is that the seasonal grip on my ability to lose weight, it has definitely not as strong as it was a year ago. My metabolism is a lot faster than it was a year ago. That's partly why I decided to dive into weight loss, because I was struggling to stop it in December. And the thing is, when you have a little bit of fat loss happening, it does affect your hormones. And so it's like I can't really get that rest or that relief that I would get in other winters, where I would be able to take a breather from losing weight. My hormones would improve. I'd experience, some benefits of maintaining weight and some drawbacks, as the winter is a difficult time for people with hypothyroidism. And or hypothyroidism, if I didn't say that. And especially when you're not running on adrenaline, because I think a lot of times people say, oh, well, I lose weight so much better in the winter, or I'm actually really doing great, with adherence or whatever in the winter. That can be true typically in people that are running on adrenaline, because your adrenaline is higher in the winter, so it can feel like you have more energy. I don't run on adrenaline anymore. I haven't since 2022. Since January of 2022, I made that transition in my hypo journey in the fall of 2021. So everything in my body has shifted towards being a thyroid metabolism, which means winter is definitely harsh for a thyroid metabolism. It's just your thyroid hormone is weaker at that time. And, I don't run on adrenaline, so I just get really tired, basically. And, it kind of puts all these less thyroid friendly hormones in the forefront. So things like serotonin are stronger in the winter. Things like estrogen are stronger in the winter. Things like adrenaline are stronger in the winter. And, the progesterone, thyroid hormone, and all the dopamine and all these hormones, they're actually a bit less in the winter, because a lot of those hormones, particularly progesterone, it depends on thyroid. And so I have been diving into this weight loss. It's releasing estrogen like a freaking dam that is breaking as I'm burning this fat, and I am dealing with the consequences. So I'm experiencing quite a bit of burn off symptoms, and this is in the dead of winter, which I think it's because, one, I cut sugar, which I decided to, as I told you guys earlier, because you can't get the relief. So I just need it to be over as fast as possible, because I don't want to live like this forever. Like, I don't like the feeling of losing weight. It's very uncomfortable, especially at a very big size, because the hormones are just so powerful that it becomes like such it's very uncomfortable. It's a very uncomfortable feeling. And so really my only choice, as my metabolism continues to speed up, as I've stayed off of seed oils for almost 3 years now, going into March, it'll be 3 years, my metabolism is drastically faster. So the only way to make this stop is to just be done, which is why I decided to really, really make my carbs very strict if you ask the average American what kind of carbs they're probably having grains with every single meal. They're probably having bread with every single meal. They're probably having sugar with every single meal. And those things can be a little buffer or kind of slow down fat loss and make it a little bit more bearable for some people. I decided to cut it out because I just want to be done, and it's working. So I've lost quite a bit of weight since Christmas time. I didn't count it because after Christmas I weighed about 333, but I didn't keep it within my scale and my dynamic because I felt as if it was very bloated. You know, I ate a lot on Christmas. So I was like, no. But my weight stabilized at around 328. After that, which I think had to do with some weight gain, which within that weight gain, there was some fat and some muscle. And then I had some solstice swelling. So winter solstice is when thyroid hormone is at its lowest and is very difficult for somebody with hypo that is not running on adrenaline. It's a tough time. So basically you swell up a lot, you become very bloated, even just because of the seasonal aspect. And so I was dealing with that, and it started to come down right after the solstice. Everything started drastically improving, which is why I decided to get back to the deficit, stay off sugar, etc. So I'm at about 316 right now. So I've come down from 328 to 316. That just goes to show, like, a lot of the weight numbers of the winter, it's very like clown numbers. It's not real. So it's really important to keep that in mind and not be demoralized. Like, I'm not demoralized because I've already been through this a couple times, but I think a lot of people do get demoralized by seeing massive weight gain with the seasons, extreme weight gain even. But it comes off just as fast. As soon as I got back on the deficit, I started doing, no sugar, etc. It came right back off. Like, all the swelling went away. And I would say I'm probably back to what I weigh now. I'm not sure. I have to see. I believe intuitively that I was at least 310. So I had at least gained around 10 pounds of actual fat between November and December. I'm at 316 now. That's not that far of a cry. And it is kind of, the weight loss is starting to stabilize and slow down. So that this might be my true weight. If I lose like 2 pounds in a couple of days, then obviously not. But we're getting there. I think as soon as I get to around 310, that has to be like the true number, in my opinion. That's about how much I ate. But in terms of like everything else, the weight's coming right back off. Things continued. I have been talking on this channel about how I worry about being attacked because the narrative is being disproven actively. I think a lot of fat activists and vegans and stuff, they see me put weight on in November and December, they start to feel comforted. And because they believe their narrative, and they believe their narrative above all. So it's like I'm facing this type of anxiety where I worry about specifically these two groups trying to attack me because I'm disproving their narrative. Because all of a sudden, I'm eating tons of meat, tons of dairy, tons of animal products, and all of a sudden my weight is just like crashing down. And as far as the fat activist side, they're always like, oh, if you go on a diet or if you go on a caloric deficit, you slow your metabolism and you just gain all your weight back. Yeah, it looks like it, but it's seasonal. It goes away, And so that sort of path of like gaining the weight back, quote unquote, I don't get demoralized. So I immediately just pick it back up as soon as I can. The weight just flies off and it goes back to what it was. Duh. Caloric realism, hello. But in terms of like the narrative, that's a huge shift. So I have faced a little bit of anxiety about that because I think it does shock people because this isn't what people talk about usually. People usually talk about, oh, I went on a diet, I started gaining weight, or I plateaued and then I started gaining weight and then I gave up and then I gained it all back and more. That doesn't happen. on a prothyroid protocol, it doesn't happen that way. It just doesn't. So I'm just like, okay, well, gonna have to deal with that. But let's get into some of the sort of negatives that I'm facing right now. I think it's important to consider negatives. So one of them is definitely negative thinking. I definitely see life a little bit darker. I feel like I've lost complete touch with my intuition. I am experiencing ADHD, which it's a take on ADHD, but it's like sort of ADHD symptoms where it's harder for me to focus. I have a hard time sometimes communicating or talking. I think just because of all the hormones going on and being in a deficit, I'm probably in a pretty steep deficit because I'm working a lot. So I'm very active and I'm still keeping my calories relatively low. I'm eating about 2,500 a day, but I'm very active. And that's not that much higher than my BMR. That's kind of like eating a sedentary amount of calories when I'm not actually sedentary. So I'm pretty steeply in a deficit, about as steep as I probably could handle. So that too, I do think I am probably losing more weight in general. I'm probably losing, more like 3 pounds a week rather than 2, which is definitely possible when you're over 300 pounds, right? They tend to say that you can kind of lose like 1% a week. And I'm still a hefty bitch, so I could still probably do that. And the way that my calories are, I probably am. So, like I said, I'm thinking this maybe 316 is like about where I'm at, maybe a little bit less. I don't know, but either way, I've been doing this deficit. It's going to start coming down regardless. I don't really know. I'll give you guys a definitive number probably by March. The winter is very touchy and weird, but all I can say is what's happening currently, and it is coming down relatively fast. So, other than that, I would say that my other biggest issue with this time is agitation. So I feel very, very agitated a lot. And I think people don't understand like what that symptom actually is or what it means. But I believe it has to do, and this is a theory, but I think it has to do with serotonin. And it's essentially a feeling in your nervous system where you feel very like raw and very like extremely irritable, and you can get angry really quickly just by basic stuff. So it's like if I'm at the grocery store and there's an old couple and they're blocking the whole aisle, it really, really, really irritates me. Or like if I was driving earlier today and somebody honked at me and I felt enraged instantly. And it's this sort of like agitation in my body where it's like my nerves, it's just like this, like you feel like this all the time or very often. It kind of comes and goes, but it's very strong. And I used to feel this a lot, like in 2022. I used to feel this way a lot. I think that's probably because that was the year that I was starting to burn fat. And I had no control because back then I was in the hypohaze. So I had no self-control. So like if I was irritated, I would just call somebody a fucking cunt, for example. I would just shout it out and just like be really like weird, especially online. And I would troll and do things because I felt so agitated. And I don't feel that way anymore. I don't do that anymore because I'm not in the hypohaze. So it's like I have self-control. But it's like a very weird feeling where what I'm putting out there, I'm definitely wearing a mask. So it's a very strange feeling for me because that's not really been something I've even been capable of, where it's like I can wear a mask and look perfectly pleasant and happy even though I'm very angry or very agitated. Or even sometimes sad. But luckily I haven't really been sad. I have said many times, like in terms of weight loss, the only feeling that I cannot handle is the depression. I can't stand hypodepression. It's very, very difficult, but I can handle rage. I actually function really well on anger. I know that sounds really bad and toxic, but it's true. Like, I can totally do it. So this is totally workable. But I think it's important to just, talk about how I'm actually feeling, because I think it's just important. I don't want to, have a love and light type of bullshit attitude when it's not totally real. I don't want people to feel like, oh, I should just feel so much better if I lose weight. You might not. You might feel angry like I do. And it's fine. Like, it's energy. I feel very, like, energized. Like, I can still work and stuff as long as I can focus. I've been cleaning a lot. I've really been focusing on cleaning my place, like, a lot. I want things to be more organized, and there's just certain things, but at the same time, there can be like a catch-22, because then I become more self-critical. I feel very fat. I feel, I look at my flaws a lot, or I'm just like, oh gosh, this isn't very attractive, or oh, this, that. Like, you kind of look at yourself and you just see all these different things that you don't like about yourself, because it's like I'm in this mode where I'm like wanting to look at problems and wanting to solve them. And it's okay, but it's also like a bit much. And so the other thing is, I can get anxiety, and I don't think my intuition is as present whatsoever. So I feel like when I look at things now, they're always through a little bit of a darker lens. Like, for example, I went to get my alignment fixed on my car with my grandma yesterday. And the whole time they were working on the car, I was thinking, they're going to come in here. They're going to tell us that something's wrong. They're going to tell us they can't do it. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. And the whole time, like, I had such anxiety about it that my grandma was trying to talk to me. I couldn't focus. I was having ADHD. I couldn't focus on what she was saying. And she's like, you're not listening. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm really, really anxious about getting my car done. Like, I just keep feeling like there's going to be something wrong. There wasn't. It was completely fine. It was totally normal. And so I feel like a lot of times, again, being so deep in the deficit and being really into weight loss, I have to give myself a grain of salt, especially emotionally. It's not exactly right. And so I think going forward, I'm going to have to really look a lot more present tense and be more in the moment, because I can't look at the future or even the past. I feel like I mean, I can look at the past if I wanted to, but because I have a good memory and stuff, but I just don't think it's really serving me anymore. I think, like, I need to get over the sort of, like, identity crisis mode I was in, where I was really looking in the past to try to find myself. Like, I feel like I found myself again. Like, I'm fine. As I said, that part is gone. So I think being more present is really what's necessary right now. And probably for this year, I think I need to just stay present, because I can't trust what I'm feeling about the future. I could be completely wrong. Like, I could be completely not attacked. But it's like, I could also be attacked. You know what I mean? It's like, I have no idea. I can't trust what I think anymore. So I've realized that my intuition is kind of cut off. And I'm a more intuitive person, so I tend to, like, live based on that. So it's a little bit out of my element to be like, no, you need to just stay in the moment. So that's a little weird for me. But it's okay. I'm just gonna live in the moment. I'm gonna have to really make an effort to do that, because it's just future living, past tripping. It's just not working anymore, and it's not necessary. I think I've looked at the past enough. I'm over the fact that I'm not dying anymore, and all this stuff, like, or I'm not extremely ill anymore. I don't need to keep thinking about it and reflecting on it. It's like, it's getting tired. So there's that. I think that might be everything I want to talk about. The only other thing I want to say is that I am really thinking about going to the gym soon. I think I might start with just arms, but I feel like I have to be a little edgy just because we're still in the winter solstice time, and I kind of want to let it pass. But I think definitely, going into mid to late January, it's going to become more of a thing. It is going to snow next week here, which is horrifying. So it's really weird to be doing all this at the winter. I haven't been capable of this in like 10 years. The last time I could actually diet and lose weight in the winter like this was literally 2014, which is insane. So my metabolism has greatly healed, which is amazing. So yeah, I think with all that combined, I'm just at a place where I have to just kind of stick my nose to the grindstone and just work really hard to get through it. And I noticed too, one day it was warmer here. It was like in the 60s. And at night it was like in the upper 50s. And my fat burning, it was so much faster. And so I think that this fat burning thing, it's going to escalate as the months go on. And so this will probably be the year that I lose the most weight in my life. I'm kind of feeling that. Just because that blew me away and my armpits are crazy. Oh my gosh. You guys. They were so bad yesterday. Like they were so bad when it was warmer. It was like driving me insane. Because they were so itchy and so like burning and just so everything. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, it's like because all this stuff is just coming out and it's just crazy. So yeah, it's intense, definitely intense. I found the only thing that gives me relief in these moments of agitation is honestly, I've been having grass-fed beef on some nights this week. And I'm going to have it again tonight. And it has helped so much. That fat and that meat, it is just like gorgeous. It like really calms me down. And then of course, I get back into deficit mode and then it goes away. But it does help to have it. So I'm definitely going to have it again tonight. And then I've noticed I started looking a bit better and that kind of stuff. Probably from not having sugar or also from having the meat, the especially beef. So I'm going to continue having that. And yeah, I'm going to keep on keeping on. I'm pretty, like, I'm my core. If I were to hold it present tense, I'm actually pretty positive. Because even if I feel irritated or angry or whatever, I can still hold it together and I still have control and I don't take it out on anybody. I'm not fighting with anybody. I'm not doing anything like that. And so that's really good because I think in life we're not always going to feel good. But if we don't have to take it out on other people, then that's great. So that's my armpits getting ready, you guys. So that's kind of like a silver lining to this moment. The other silver linings I have is just it's good to have energy in the winter. I haven't for quite a few years. So like to be able to clean, to organize things. I'm kind of starting to play Sims again, which means I can kind of enjoy video games again, or I'm starting to enjoy TV shows and stuff a lot with my grandma. Like we watch a lot of crime shows and crime dramas and stuff. And it's been really nice to kind of enjoy that while knitting and stuff. And I've been able to take a little bit of time off because I work a lot more efficiently on a lot of my days that I work and I'm able to work more. So I have had a little bit of leeway here and there. Now that is kind of getting worse as the time goes on because I'm kind of, it's kind of getting tough. But it's just overall kind of exciting to know that like I'm back on track in terms of losing weight again. And I start getting excited about like, oh, well, this outfit will fit or this clothes will fit or, it's like you kind of have a little bit of a restore of hope again, like I do, because I know that the momentum is just going to continue to grow. And so I'm really going into a massive weight loss phase that will probably, hit a absolute peak this summer. So I'm trying to just develop all my self-control and stuff. Especially I'm going to need it for the summer because I might just like pop off and go crazy. Maybe I won't be able to hold it together. Who knows? But at the end of the day, is it better to be nice or healthy? It's better to be healthy, period. So that's kind of my mindset. Like whatever happens, happens, but I'm going to do my best. That's all I can do. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the ride. So I'm going to go ahead and go now. But that was basically everything that's been going on in January 2024. I think this is a pivotal moment. I expect February will be somewhat pivotal as well. I think diet-wise, this month and next month are one of the most important. I think especially February. I struggled last year. I'm going to have to really have willpower probably in February. But we'll see. I could be wrong. Like I said, I don't want to future trip too much. I just need to stay present. So with that, you guys, I'm going to go. Have a good rest of your day, night, whatever. I'll catch you soon. Bye.